Hey everyone, welcome back. So previously we talked about whenever you have a feature request, how do you carry out a planning session with AI, right? With Anthropic Claude Code. So in this video, I actually have already gone through all the steps of implementation detail, and I want to show you guys what exactly is it that can be achieved. So with that being said, let me share my screen. And for the sake of originality of this recording, I'm gonna try not to cut or edit the video post-production. I just want to give you guys a genuine taste of how this thing look like. So here I am working on my screen. Here is a local host with the endpoint 7860 website. It's a locally hosted. It's because I'm still developing features. It's not being pushed into production yet. And this is the page called Just Trade. It's a marketplace page where users can have this community environment to quickly analyze and quickly preview what each other built on this marketplace. So, for example, right now I'm logging as Zhang Dou, one of the sample persona, and Zhang Dou is a persona that perhaps has an app here about bike research. Let's preview his app. That's his e-bike pricing guide that he built. Zhang Dou maybe also has a bike store. That's another website or web app that he built using this platform. And he wants to put two apps on this platform to seek out for some sort of comments, right? So that's the idea that we were trying to achieve here. That is the a problem statement, right? Is to create how to create the stickiness of this platform. And to answer that question, the stickiness here, in order to be created, is to increase the comment section. So that's what we're building here. It's the comment section here. I already tested out a couple of comments. Zhang Dou can say, hey, anyone wants to offer any feedback? Zhang Dou say, hey, I built this because I'm about to open my new store, things like that, right? So um, now this feature is built, it's done. Let me show you how it's being done by LLM. Exactly what is the implementation detail. So here is the terminal window Claude Code, and I already write out a bunch of stuff. It's very difficult to show you guys every single page, every single line of code, but of course we have a quick summary. So let me take you to the VS Code, and let me show you what is being created. So common data and README file, and let me preview this so we can see what's going on. So the common data, right? How does it work? Common data implies that there is a database behind the scene, and it allow user to talk to the platform to send comments, right? So the basic feature is essentially summarized here, right? We did a brainstorm, we figure out what the feature is, based on the feature request, based on what's the highest impact, what's the highest ROI, return on investment. This is the feature that's being approved, right? Let's say that's the case. This section, I'm still behaving or acting as a product person. Once this section is finished, I will then be acting as an engineer, right? So feature approved. Now I'm going to go to purpose. I understand what the goal is. What is the request of the feature? Now I'm going to implement it. So this is the implementation guideline. What that means is it's the detailed steps of exactly what needs to be done for this ticket item to be considered finished. So what's the strategy here, right? Let's go through this list. Um, phase one, we need a backend implementation, right? Comment means user will upload something, right? They type something down, they send comment, right? And then that comment needs to be saved somewhere. And you need to save it somewhere along with the project. So let me take you to the web app. This is the comment section. And this comment is attached to this bike store database, right? Whatever that piece of data in the bikes about the bike store, that's in the backend, this comment need to talk to it, right? Need to be attached to it. So that's one thing I need to do. And all of that it's built inside of a Lambda function with a CRUD, right? And obviously, after that, a Lambda function need to be deployed, right? And once you deploy it, it requires an IAM policy, right? An IAM policy specifies that you have the accessibility and permissions to change things in a S3 location, right? Some sort of S3 bucket. And then after that, you deploy using the AWS CLI, and then you can add the trigger of the Lambda function, API gateway with authentication, API keys, all that fun stuff, right? So that's phase one, and that's the first thing that you need to do. Okay, what's phase two? Phase two is application integration. So, um, in loose terminology, you can call phase one backend, and phase two, front end, right? In loose terminology. Back end means it's the functionalities that you have to have, but users don't necessarily see it, right? Users cannot see uh, a post API call, right? User cannot see a put API call, right? But the put API call is required for that app to work, right? So now on phase two, we're talking about front end. Front end is what user can see, right? Like for example, there's a comment button, there's a text box, right? So let me go to my app. What is the user can see? This is what I see on the UI, right? There's an add comment. I can say, can someone share any thoughts? And I say submit comment, it will be added here, right? And you can log out and log back in, and this thing will always be here, right? Because it's saved. So that's the idea here, and everything behind the scene, right? This text box, this button, this clear, right? Things like that, like this text box, a date, time, this text here, right? By zooming a little bit, this stuff here, right? That's what users see, right? And that needs to be implemented, and whatever that means, right? If this means the comment is one subsection or one sub block under the live preview, right? Imagine live preview is like a giant section, and under that section, there's a preview that's maybe one tab, right? And there's code that's like a second tab, right? And then the third tab is called comments, right? And comments is basically this kind of design. And then you can talk to it. And of course, same goes with other projects. As long as users are talking to it, data is saved along in that comment section along with that particular project. Um, so for example, I can go to another one. Let's say go to a different one. Um, Let me go to this one, Jen Smith. Jen Smith is another persona that I created. And Jen Smith, maybe it's interesting in financial analysis. Here it's her app called Tesla Stock Analysis. Here, her app. And you can go to comments, and then John Doe can make a comment, right? Eagle0504 can also make another comment, right? These are comments that other people can uh, basically publish regarding to Jen Smith's app, right? Jen Smith's project. And even though here the current user that's logged in is John Doe, right? So that's the relationship here, and that's how the data need to be connected. And then phase three is you build it, right? Now, I want to be very clear of what goes in production, what does not go in production. Um, so that's why phase three is implemented. So I want to be able to test all of the CRUD operations in a local environment. And hence I have a Docker container built, right? This is my Docker desktop of which this app is built with the port 7860. This is local host. And once this is built, that's how I was able to go to a web browser and go to localhost 7860 to be able to visualize exactly what is the feature that I just built. So that is the relationship here. And that wraps up the phase one, two, three. Right. So that's the idea, right? That's the implementation detail. Now I also have a ASCII style architecture diagram. It's a very simple diagram, right? It's just, typically, literally in a in a using a text in a Markdown file. But it's okay. Let's see what this thing is. So, just trade UI is page five. Page five is called just trade, and that's where that code is. Okay. There's a common tab, right? And then in that common tab, there's a form, right? So very simple design. And then there's API helper module. the helper module give you the functionalities, right? The comments, the edit, right? Whatever features here that need to be implemented. Um, and then those functions will then be invoking a HTTPS API, right? And that API, of course, has API keys behind the scene, so on and so forth. And of course, API keys need to be in a secret environment, like a .in file or something like that, and thus able to essentially help you trigger the API gateway. API gateway will be the trigger and will point to the Lambda function. Lambda function is here and it gives you pretty much all the functionalities, right? The create function, the read function, the update function, the delete function, all that's within the Lambda function. The Lambda function is then able to change whatever need to be changed in an S3 location, right? So S3 location, you can kind of think about that as storage, right? Like think about it as a folder, and in that folder, there's maybe different paths, and maybe one of the path is pointing to one of the projects, and underneath that project, there's like this nice JSON file that's like well defined with like everybody's comments in that JSON file, so that the comments are saved, right? And once the comments are saved, this function can then help the UI, the user interface, to then grab the comments or do something with it, right? Read, update, delete, right? All that stuff that is being implemented in the Lambda function, that's all there, right? So that is it. Uh, that is all that has been done. And I was looking at the clock earlier. This whole thing pretty much take 30 minutes, right? And 30 minutes is, by LLM 30 minutes. I just have to talk to it. And the only thing I have to do is I probably type down two paragraphs. One paragraph maybe has 60 words. The second paragraph maybe has like 20 words. So altogether, I type down um, less than 100 words, and Anthropic Cloud is able to build all of this for me, right? So that's why I think it's super helpful to get on board with this kind of tool, and it certainly helps the engineer's life to become very easier. So that's the implementation detail. Now let's go back to the ROI, right? Last video we talked about ROI. Why is this important? Well, um, the plan of this structure still come from human, right? Why do I say that? This is not the only way to do the comment section, right? Like, there are a million ways online that you can do comment section. Even before large language model comes out, there's a million way to do it, right? The If you just Google the internet, or if you just ask ChatGPT for the common procedure, they will probably recommend you some sort of a RDS database, right? NoSQL, something like that. Like if you have a blog post, and then the blog post has a couple of comments underneath, right? Like that simple web page design. How do you handle the database? Well, typically people will probably recommend NoSQL or MySQL RDS. If you want to be fancy about it, you can use DynamoDB, MongoDB, and then you can even tie the blog along with some sort of vector database, like a Milvus. We talked about Milvus before, right? And then that vector database can then allow you to do semantic search. So imagine that this UI, right now, there's only 3 to 4 people using this, right? It's not a whole lot of comments, right? Now imagine this comments become like 10,000 lines long, right? What are you gonna do? Like you can't find a comment with 10,000 lines, right? Or like let's say you have this table to be like 10,000 projects, right? Users not gonna go to 10,000 items to find one project, right? There's need to be some sort of search engine, and the search engine, you can of course do keywords, right? But if you're not gonna do keywords, or if the user can't really remember the keywords, then that's where the semantic search comes in, right? So we can do all of that, and that depends on the plan. That plan comes from human user, and the human user need to have domain knowledge, right? The human user need to have domain knowledge. The human user needs to understand the return on investment. The human user needs to understand the highest impact, and what is the operational cost to carry out some of these functionalities. And then they can then make a decision, okay, where to use AI, where to not use AI, and so on and so forth, right? So that's why I want to show you guys in this video. I think it's a super helpful video, and hopefully this help the audience to think about some of the gaps in the feature development pipeline. And then if you are a people manager, hopefully this help you think about what is it that the product people need to do, what is it that the engineers need to do, and then how do they uh, organically work together to achieve that cohesiveness of the culture that you want to achieve, and just overall to build better product with a strong team, with a cohesive team. Um, so that's the message in this video. Hopefully it's helpful. Give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.